It's okay. Hey, folks, we're live. It's Friday, January 16th, the year of our Lord 2026. It is 8 o'clock a.m. We're going to have a battery update for you as soon as Nastia gets here, which will, happen when it happens. Uh, but I have a really exciting piece of news for you first. The sun is shining.
No.
It is. The birds are chirping.
But it's still freaking cold.
It is freaking cold, but not as cold as it is in Kiev, and it's
No.
going to be a great fucking day. And I think
Oh, are you doing the cactus already?
several cactuses have something to say to you.
Oh my goodness. I'm caught off guard by the shortness of the intro here.
You're watching Dog Shirt TV, a forking revolution in morning television.
You are watching Dog Shirt TV. The introduction is short, and it is a forking revolution in morning television. The shortness of the intro here, says the cactus. Folks, it is a revolution in morning television. And one of the revolutionary features is that sometimes the intro is short, even if that confuses the cactus.
Leor has typed, Kate has ruined Ben.
And yeah, I mean, look, if there is a pro long monologue caucus, you guys have got to speak up. And one of the revolutionary features is that sometimes the monologue is really short because I'm expecting Nastia at the top of the hour, and so I didn't really prepare one. And because I was expecting to do, have a little bit of a what's it called, an update on batteries in lieu of a monologue. And another one of the revolutionary features is that sometimes Mike Feinberg flits in and out. And still another one of the revolutionary features is that sometimes my audio and video are a little bit out of sync, and that is not my fault. That is Riverside's fault. So I want you all to send customer service notes to Riverside saying, guys, stop making this suck. We'll see what happens. All of which is a long-winded way of saying that we are not allowed to have fun anymore, but we are allowed to gather on a Friday morning with no agenda, and just a
Agenda. I have agenda. I'm going to read all the texts I sent to you that you ignored yesterday.
No, that's not nice. We're not going to do that.
But actually, I did send you. You had a very busy day yesterday, and so and you're correct. It was nothing urgent. However, I do have one thing. I do need a point of business for the show.
Yes.
Is anyone? First of all, I assume there's not a show on Monday, or is there for MLK?
Well, that's an interesting question. Are we having a show on Monday?
Yeah. Are you a racist or not? Do you observe MLK Day or not?
Well,
Would the observation of MLK Day be a celebratory show talking about topics germane to the man's life and work? I would not.
Okay.
But maybe we should observe the MLK Day by having a show comprised entirely of a discussion of the Memphis speech the day before his assassination, which remains my favorite MLK speech of all.
Sure. Or I have many favorites of his sermons because he was a pastor and so as a Christian, his sermons are quite meaningful to me as well. And really, even if you're not a Christian or, of that ilk, or not even religious, there's still a lot you can get from his sermon.
All right. So yes, the answer is we are having a show on on Monday, and it will be a show devoted to the rhetoric, substance of speeches, and of Martin Luther King. Bring your favorites that you are prepared to discuss. They're all on YouTube. Now we are able to run YouTube videos, and so we're going to make use of that. Preferably, if you are going to bring ones, because some of them are reasonably long, we are going to bring the set, like take the time to give me a time signature for the segment of the speech. So, for example, the Memphis speech is long, and a lot of it has everything to do with the sanitation workers' strike that he was there to support in Memphis. And then there's a chunk of it that has to do with if he could be at any point in history, when would he want to be? But the part that I find relentlessly moving is the part where he talks about Moses looking out over the promised land and not getting there. Which is it's really the last 5 minutes of the speech.
I was just going to read some things.
No, bring audio.
I mean, there may not be audio of some of his early sermons.
That may be, well, obviously, if there is no audio, bring text. But for everybody who has a favorite MLK speech, or one that they think is particularly germane to, say, Minnesota or other stuff that may be going on now, bring them. That is our agenda for Monday. Next item of business, Holly.
Oh, so wondering if there's a guest on Tuesday, because I have tentatively booked a very entertaining guest that I think you will. He's not a famous person. He's not a fancy person, but he's amazing. And
okay, we putting him? Should we put him on the calendar?
Yes, his name is Micah.
Okay. Micah will be here on Tuesday.
He's a bit of a professional protester.
All right. Is he going to wear a frog costume?
No, his costume's even better, and we will show pictures of that.
All right. Okay. Any other? Then that's Tuesday?
Yes.
So we have a show scheduled for Monday. We have a show scheduled for Tuesday. That's about as much planning as I can do, girl.
That's fine. The other thing already happened yesterday. A friend of ours was in town, and I had dinner with her. So.
Oh, yes, I saw that this morning when. So Holly sent me a long string of text messages.
Yeah, it was a barrage. I feel bad now, given everything.
You should not feel barrage.
I do. I feel bad.
You should not feel bad. All of them were about the parody video that Holly is filming this weekend that I am going to be apparently...
You're going to be in it, right?
I'm going to be in it. It's going to have to be... I told you it was going to be... it would have to be Sunday because I'm going to be at the cabin on Saturday.
That's fine.
The opposite turns out to be true. It has to be Saturday because I'm going to be at the cabin on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. I will clear my schedule for this, Ben.
All right. And I'm bringing a frog costume.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, I can give you further details, but it's going to be amazing, guys. I recorded the track like a real artist yesterday. I'm going to call it the track. I laid down the track.
Should we play the track or should we wait?
What do you think? Well, maybe we should, because I sent it to, I previewed it for a few friends and loved ones. And a loved one who will remain nameless thinks it's too mean.
Too mean to whom?
To ICE officers.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's perfect. I think I don't want to dehumanize individual ICE officers, obviously, but I think, when you're going for humor and you're going for mockery and you're going for tearing down fascism, sometimes you have to be a little mean. I think that's all right. I think it's fair.
I think What do you guys think, Greek Chorus? Are we previewing this now, or the audio now, or are we? Um, all right, I
And if you
think.
have ideas for the videos, well, I basically have the whole video planned out. But if you have any ideas that I still could incorporate, you can offer those. But it's
So
going to be amazing. We're going to
let
have a
me
great time.
let me see if
And Mike, if you want to come dance in the music video, you're welcome as well. Maybe you have a frog costume or not. You could just dress as ice, Vanilla Ice. You kind of have, you could do your hair like Vanilla Ice for sure. But I see this as beneath Mike's dignity as opposed to us, Ben. I feel like we should
we
not.
have no dignity. All right.
Yeah.
So the first question, we're gonna check something out, whether my snazzy new soundboard can handle Bluetooth from my phone. This is the first test of this ever. Can you guys hear Holly's song starting now?
All right, stop. Collaborate with Satan. ICE is back with some brand new henchmen. Someone they've got a hold of tightly, roaming our hoods both daily and nightly. Will ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Put on a costume and let's go. To the extreme, they chop her in like seals, storming the target like a battlefield. Deadly, because their boss has immunity. It's only noon and they've done 10 felonies. Christy thinks she looks like fire. Got enough collagen to fill a tire. Fierce in a gulag, she's all cosplay. She claims the law's got nothing to say. If there's no problem, yo, they'll make it. Check out the case while they blame it on immigrants. Ice, bootlicks. Fascistic ice, bootlicks. Ice, bootlicks. Fascistic ice, bootlicks. Now the blue cities are angry. Wine moms out here doing surveillance, rolling by in their Honda Pilot, scaring the tough guys just by smiling. Bad boys masked up like bandits, pounding Americans all on camera. Detain a vet trying to get to work. They're on a roll. It's time to break windows. Rolling. A disabled lady asking another if she's Somali. The boomers on standby waving just to say hi. They don't stop. Tear gas flies. Keep on pursuing fake terrorists, taking down pastoring clericals. They got a quota, so they continue to. Kids at play. Let's go to preschool. Hauling out a dangerous teacher. She's got a passport if she can reach it. Uber driver looks suspiciously swarthy. They doubt he was born in this country. Now they got a Chinese grandma. She's been here since the Bush era. They're all ready for a wider nation. No more cats and dogs for the Haitians. Tweeting out a Nazi shit shows. Even Miller's got to get off somehow. Dropping Bible verses like they own them. Cross necklace covers all the lion. Christy's up to bat. She's in a cowboy hat. She got a refresh, gotta hide the aftermath. If there's no problem, yo, they'll make one. Check out her hair while they flap the Constitution. Ice, bootlicks. Fascistic ice.
It's almost over. But the ending is really good. Stay with it.
Whoa.
Nope, got to do the ending, man.
Sorry, my phone went to sleep and it
Okay,
stopped.
well, anyway, you can see the
wait. We're gonna get to the end.
And Christy's up to bat. She's in.
Oh no, that's yeah. It's the very, very end.
Fascistic ice bootlicks.
Isn't that good? Do you catch
Excellent.
that then? Yeah.
So
right?
that is spectacular.
Yeah.
And I have a completely illiterate question for you.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is it a parody of?
What?
Well,
Vanilla Ice? Where were you in the 90s? I'm going to come take your Gen X card, man.
you know, you
Hand me
gotta-
your Gen X card. You know Vanilla Ice? Oh, Lord. So Vanilla Ice blatantly sampled, obviously, Queen's Under Pressure. I have a parody of that one too, but it's not political, y'all. So, but you can go see that. I did do a parody of the Queen song. So he just like blatantly lifted. I don't know how this worked out in court or whatever, but he just blatantly lifted the track, the beat. And then this is in the early 90s when rap was really getting popular. And he's this like white suburban guy who, decides he's going to just be a rapper. And it's an iconic song, and it's the perfect, it sort of spawned And what we're going to do,
What was
Ben,
the song?
what?
What
Ice
was
Ice
the
Baby. Ice Ice
Ice Ice
Baby.
Baby? So we
Yeah.
changed. I see. So we changed it
Yeah.
to Ice
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 Bootleg.
Bootlicks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was originally going to make it all about Christy Nome and do Ice Ice Barbie, but that was too narrow. So I just expanded it to the whole thing. And I made it Ice Ice Bootlicks, fascistic Ice Ice Bootlicks. So anyway, I'm sure other people have done parodies of this song with regards to ice, but mine is going to be the best. And we're gonna dress. So I already have like a ton of footage laid out in the stream, and then we're gonna blue screen and we're gonna like dance in our frog costumes, and we're gonna do like 90s style dancing, which I realize you don't know, but that's even better because the worse the better. Like if you can't do it, and you'll be in your frog costume.
I am going to, as you know, Holly, I absolutely do not dance under any
I know, but
circumstances,
that's what's
with
amazing.
one exception, which is your parody videos.
Yes.
So we're gonna
Anyway.
get it done.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
All right. Next agenda item.
That's all I have now.
That's all you have?
Yeah.
Well, we are still waiting for Nastia, who has been detained by some combination of Kiev weather and circumstances. But we're going to... we have a very cool battery update for you. Nastia says she will be there in 5, and she sends this picture, which says, along with the annotation, currently warming my feet with a pot of boiled water. Here is the picture Nastia sent as to why she is late. Here you go.
Oh, so sad.
So this is, indoors at home with with heaters and stuff. It's super, super cold in Kiev, guys.
It's terrible. Oh, I do have one other item on agenda, and that is, have you ever won an award, Ben? Have you won an award like for your writing, or have you been recognized with an award, maybe an honorary degree?
I've never gotten an honorary degree, and I regret that actually, because I really
someone needs to give you a law degree,
because I feel like I have a commencement speech that would be a barn burner and a memorable one. I feel like I have that in me, so I regret that Oberlin College, say, hint, hint, has never,
well, that is a tragedy.
I think, but, I'm a little bit conservative for them,
Anyway, if you do win an award that I want, I'm just going to come take it, and that'll redound to my benefit and esteem. I have won precious few things, so I want to win awards, and so I'm just going to come take it if you ever win something.
It's funny that you say that, because I received a text this morning when I woke up from, I'm going to keep his name out of it, but let's just say a famous person who has been in the news of late. And it read, new idea. We all have closets of participation trophies our kids won. We should send them all to the White House, which seems to like that sort of thing.
Ooh, that's amazing.
And I think it's a great idea. Send them the plastic trophies. And I think we all got to get this started.
And here's another idea that I'm going to do. So if my daughter doesn't get into her preferred college, we're just going to go anyway. We're just going to show up with her stuff, and we're just going to find a bed in the dorm and just move her in. And that way she'll get to go to whatever fancy school that claims they didn't accept her. We're just gonna she's just going to go anyway.
That's I think the right approach. And I also think that the participation trophy idea is really it will help for those of us who are struggling with decluttering. And we need somewhere to get rid of some of this stuff. And I just think if lots of people send their bullshit trophies to the White House, and of course tweet about it, that'll be a good thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, okay, this story, I have to say, like, the timeline is bananas. Like, it's just, and some of it is, there's a few buckets. One is just like batshit crazy, humorous. One is like actually dangerous. And then there's the batshit crazy humorous that is also very dangerous. And this one is obviously just, I don't know, it could be in the third bucket a little bit because it sort of abuts the issue of what will happen to Venezuela and the possibility of democracy there. But like like literally satire's dead because like it's one thing if she like offers him like you're gonna take it. And I loved the White House official statement saying that he would accept the award.
Yeah.
That's an official statement. It's like, what is this? What is this person? Like, who is this person? I am just, my mind is blown.
It is flabbergasting. Nastia, привет.
Who also deserves a Peace Prize. Let's just give it to Nastia. Let's find someone to, let's give Nastia a Peace Prize.
I'm not defending the democracy of a failing state that could be very prosperous because of its oil. Do not compare me to Maria Machado.
All right.
That's
so
that.
Nastia, you are you had a busy day yesterday. Let's get an update on Operation Battery. So first of all, on my end, I have now initiated transfers for $20,000 into Ukraine, of which $5,000 has arrived. $10,000 will arrive on the 22nd, and the last $5,000 will arrive on the 23rd. The $5,000 that arrived yesterday ended up in Nastia's bank account, where she promptly spent it. So pick up the story and tell us what you did.
Yes. So I added $2,000 of my own money to the 5,000 that Ben sent me, just so we could buy more of them quicker. And bought 2 batteries at the official store, the official Flow store here in Kyiv. And we delivered 2 of those batteries to the families this morning. So that was great.
And
they were very much shocked.
Hello, Jonathan Rauch, and without telling us the identities of the families or giving away any private information, can you tell us a little bit about what sort of people they are? Who's going to benefit from this?
Yeah, well, so one person that I mentioned before is my friend who is a single mom with a kid. So I think she's the only friend I have here in Kyiv who has kids. And so I feel a lot of motherly solidarity towards her, and her having to deal with the child alone, and also with all of the electricity outages and things like that. So I'm really glad that we could help her. And the other family is a family of current servicemen. The father in the family is in the military, serving near the front line, and the mom is here in Kyiv. And they have several kids, and they live in the left bank, and it's a similarly harsh situation with electricity there as well. So I'm also glad that I could help that woman because the father is currently not home, as I've said. So again, just, as a woman, I understand whose husband is also not home right now, also at work. Thank God, not at the front line. I understand how hard it is to deal with all of this crap on your own. So, so I'm glad we could help those two
Yeah.
families. Дякую.
And so we have three, I think we have these batteries cost about $3,000 each. And so we have 4 or 5 more, and money is still coming in. So although at a lower rate, obviously, than the first couple days. But I'm sort of expecting at the end of the day, it'll be 7, 8 of them. What do we have in the way of families lined up?
So we have a few Crimean Tatar families, just because that's my network. My husband is Crimean Tatar. So, a lot of them.
Nastia is breaking up.
Hi, can you hear
So
me?
let's wait until until she's at somewhere where her connection's a little bit more stable. Hello, Jonathan.
Can you guys hear me?
Whoops. Jonathan is broken up too. Hello, Holly.
Hello. I had to get more coffee, but I'm thrilled to hear from Nastia how it's going.
Yeah. I think Nastia is back. Nope. And Jonathan is completely frozen. He showed up and froze. Let me give a little bit of an update. Nastia has lined up 3 more families, and we are trying to get this done as urgently as we can because it's actually really, really cold, and it's when we were texting this morning about my latest efforts to get money to Nastia, and all of these wire transfers are hard to get done, and they will go through at more likely if you do it in a way that takes 4 days, and if you do it in a way that's instant, it goes through at a rate of, I don't know, 1 in 20 efforts or something. And so I gave up this morning on the fastest way and sent them the slower way. And I texted her, jokingly, oh, it's okay. It's not like anybody's freezing in the meantime, which is actually the stakes that people are in. Like, if you can do this quickly, you can actually prevent people from freezing in the meantime. That said, sometimes I can't get the instant transfers done. If you happen to work for Western Union, fucking fix this. It's really it shouldn't be this difficult to wire money to Ukraine.
I find international wires in general I understand, because people coming on my Kenya trip, they're paying through international wire because many of the tour operators there don't do credit cards because that's very expensive, so they do international wires. And my bank, it's no problem. I have Citibank, which is a big bank, but a lot of people are having a terrible time, even with again, you could call my friend. You could actually chat with him on the phone if you wanted, if you were so concerned. That some of the anti-corruption measures are just sort of beyond the pale. So,
and to be fair to the banks, the international criminals are super, super creative about exploiting any bank transfers to crime, but I do find that when you're trying to buy generators for people who are cold, there is something really frustrating about having a hit rate of 1 in 10, and you get the 1 in 10 that you get through is one that will take 4 days or 5 days. That said, 3 are in progress. 1 is done. And Nastia, you were about to say when you got cut off
Yeah.
about the other families that you've lined up.
Can you hear me okay right now?
Yep.
Great. We have a few Crimean Tatar families since I'm married to a Crimean Tatar, so it's a wide network. And it's a Muslim culture, so all families have like 1 million kids. So a lot of people who might need batteries there. So we have one family with 2 children. One is a baby, one is a toddler. The baby was born, I think, just a few weeks ago or a month ago, in Crimea. I think they were in Crimea. The mom and the babies went there to give birth and stay with their family. And they're coming. Their dad is in Kiev, and they're coming back with the kids on the 24th. And I know the father very well. He's a young guy, and so it's them, him, his wife, and 2 babies. 1 baby, 1 toddler. So I think that would be really great that we're gonna help them.
And how, just for logistical question, how do you travel between Crimea and Kiev these days, given that they're on opposite sides of
Everything.
of everything?
That's a good question. I think there is a way to go like through Russia and Belarus, I think, or like Russia and then some European country like Lithuania or something like that. In general, people from Crimea usually would just cross, like there is a checkpoint between the occupied territory and non-occupied territory. I don't know if that checkpoint is open right now. It used to be. It may still be. But I don't know. It used to be just a matter of you could cross that checkpoint. And if you're just an average citizen who does nothing political, not a journalist, not an antagonizing force for the Kremlin in any way, you'll be fine. But like, for example, I couldn't cross it because they would open my social media and they'd immediately arrest me. But if it's like a random family with kids, they don't care. So yeah, that's that. Maybe they also went through Turkey or something like that. I don't know. It's complicated. It's very complicated. But so that's one family. Then there is another family. It is a woman with 3 kids. One is around 3, a toddler, and the 2 other girls are more grown up. But again, this woman is alone. Her husband works in Germany, but not like in a fancy businessman kind of way. Like he works there because he sends all his money back home. And they also can't afford to buy a fancy $3,500 battery. So we're going to be giving 1 to them. And they're also Crimean Tatars. They live in Irpin and Kyiv suburbs. So they're also hit by all of this energy stuff. And then I think we had 1 more. Oh, and then another. And then the third, also Crimean Tatar family, also 2 small kids. So I'm targeting a demographic that I feel, personal sympathy for, because I know what it's like to some extent.
Yes, and
we still need more families
who
to find.
do not know, since we're talking Crimean Tatars, a brief bit of history.
Don't
Crimean
get me started.
Tatars. Well, we're just, for those who don't know this history, during World War II, Stalin made up what Jews would call a blood libel about the Crimean Tatars, which is that they were a collaborationist nation that had collaborated with the Nazis. There was no element of truth to this, and he used this as an excuse to deport all of them.
Like the entire population.
The entire
literally the entire population
of Crimea, to what is now Uzbekistan. And a huge number of them died.
Half of them died on the way.
Yeah, the best analogy that I know for this is the Trail of Tears in the United States, but it's a very similar and the and as a result, many Crimean Tatars grew up in what is now Uzbekistan, and they
My
started
husband was
migrating.
born there.
Yeah, and they started migrating back in the 90s
Mm-hmm.
when Ukraine became independent, and of course Crimea was part of an independent Ukraine. So now about 20% of the population of Crimea is Crimean Tatar.
Even though it used to
And
be 90 something, because
right.
Crimea is inherently a Crimean Tatar land. It used to be majority population. It's an indigenous population.
And it's about and Crimean Tatar is in a Turkic language
Mm-hmm.
closely related to Azerbaijani and Turkish, and it is the community is Muslim, and
But kind
so
of
this
light
is
Muslim, to be honest. Like they're not, from what I've encountered, they're not all practicing. They're very like, it's a cultural thing more than a religious thing.
So there you go. There is your brief lesson in Stalinist genocides and their residual. By the way, Crimean Tatars as a community are very Ukrainian for
Yeah,
reasons that they are
obviously.
kind of they are kind of a they're a community that has experienced in sort of microcosmic intensity the larger Russian oppression of Ukraine. Um, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Everything that is true of Ukraine in general is true of Crimean Tatars in modern, in a kind of modern, intense history that's very, very recent. And um, most, any of them above a certain age grew up in a different country because of Stalin's
Mm-hmm.
population policies.
But
Um,
you can also see how that, like how that kind of history might affect um how affluent or not the community is, right? Since you're uprooting all of these families, a lot of them started from nothing when they came back to Crimea in the 90s. So there are a lot of families who don't have the financial means to deal with this energy crisis.
Jonathan Rauch,
I'm gonna go
hello.
write about
Okay,
the said energy crisis. See you guys later.
stay warm.
I'm trying desperately.
See
See
you
you guys
soon.
later.
Notice, people, how everybody who's walking by Nastya is wearing winter coats indoors in a cafe. And that is not because they just walked in from the street.
Well, I was just going to ask about that.
Uh,
I,
Go ahead.
I noticed Nastya took off her coat. I wonder if that means she had heat this morning in that place.
Well, so that place is a cafe that she has been going to work. She does not have heat in her apartment except a certain amount that the central heating is sending in. She does have the battery that we bought for her, and she's got she's got some space heaters. The other thing is she doesn't have water because it's so cold that the local pipes are frozen. So there's her building doesn't have water either. So it's, even if you're in a relatively privileged position, which she is, it's a rough situation right now. And she had to go over to a friend's to give Ava a bath the other day, and she's they're all wearing coats indoors and stuff. She sent me a picture which I posted of Ava bundled up sleeping the other day. And it is not warming up. It's 20 below Celsius, so what is that, like 5 degrees there, a lot of days. So it's a bad situation, but candidly, she is not complaining about it because in she's in the position of it being merely an inconvenience and uncomfortable. And there are a lot of people who are in the position of it being dangerous and life-threatening.
Has she said anything on or off the show about the effects that this latest Russian round of attacks on their energy grid may or may not have on their morale and on their fighting spirit?
That so goes without saying that we never talk about it. But there's a lot of good evidence that the effect is negative. That, the the more the Russians do this, the less, it doesn't work as a strategy for, breaking Ukrainian will any more than it works with Palestinians, right? Or, or that it worked with, when we bombed the crap out of Hamburg, it did not meaningfully affect German willingness to fight, right? Like the whole idea that you can bomb things into submission really has no, like, it's something that people who are enthusiastic about air power always assert, and there's really no evidence that it's true. I have never spoken, and granted, the group of Ukrainians who I speak to is self-selected. I've just never spoken to a Ukrainian who's, there are many Ukrainians who believe that they need to sign a bad deal. But that has to do with the continued ability of Ukraine to produce people to fight. It's not a morale issue. It's a human and industrial capacity issue, right? I don't know anybody who said, oh, we've got to do this to save our energy infrastructure or because the Russians are killing a lot of people in cities.
Well, that sounds right. I'm trying to figure out why what Putin is doing here is a rational part of the war effort and who he's targeting this effort at exactly. Meanwhile, I've been wondering the same thing about what Stephen Miller and the Trump administration are doing in Minneapolis. I thought I understood their mindset when it seemed that what they were up to was maximizing the number of arrests to meet the quotas that Stephen Miller has placed in order to, I think he says he wants to deport 20 million people. And in order to do that, you have to do some pretty draconian things, but they're now flooding the streets of Minneapolis with thousands of agents, and we're getting reports of citizens being dragged out of cars and non-citizens, of course, not going to work, or ordinary people are taking Ubers instead of driving their own cars because they feel that's safer, or they're just staying home. And of course, and the mayor is urging, I think, or the governor is urging some form of resistance and so forth. And I'm trying to understand what the end game is supposed to be here. Is it to invoke the Insurrection Act? But then what? What does the Trump administration gain from that? I don't understand what they think they're doing.
I don't think whether it's Putin or Stephen Miller or Trump, I mean, they're different types of people. They're not, I really don't, they're not normal people. They're sociopaths, I mean, to be honest. And they don't understand the idea of, like, you come at people with force and they're not intimidated, or that they bond together as a community. They don't understand community. They only understand force and violence, and they don't understand the rules of love, quite frankly. I don't think, I mean, I'm not being like, I'm being serious. I have a sociopath in my history, and they really they're not capable of love. They don't understand human love. They don't understand the idea that someone would do something out of love or out of connection or out of real patriotism or love of community. They only understand control, force, manipulation, strength. And so I don't know that it's a strategy. I just think they don't have any other way that they know to operate. That's my interpretation of all of this all across the world, and that includes in Africa as well. It's a personality type, and it's something is missing in the brains of people like that.
I have a slightly different view of it. I think it is strategic. But I don't know if it's a less diabolical view than Holly or a more diabolical view than Holly. But I think they love violence, and I think I don't know what the but I think if you had sat Stephen Miller and Donald Trump down under sodium pentothal, or y'all sat down and smoked a joint together today, a few weeks ago, and asked them what they were trying to do when they sent troops to Los Angeles and then to Portland and then to Chicago and then this, I think this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted a confrontation in which there would be tear gas and some, some people would get shot and some law enforcement officers would get hurt. They haven't really had that yet, because their fundamental worldview is a worldview in which, first of all, they actively want a scene that is the parallel to January 6th, only they're the good guys. They're the peace officers, and the libs are the rioters. That restores the usual, their ordered universe, right? In which they're the guys with guns, and January 6th really disrupted that, in which they were the baddies, they were the rioters, they were the insurrectionists, and the cops were the libs. And so, first of all, if you can generate this scene, you can restore the sort of more Nixonian vision, right, where they are what they used to call the peace forces, and we are the rioters, the hoi polloi, the dangerous, and by the way, the racial and ethnic mix works well there too, right? So the crowd will be less white, the peace forces will be more white, right? So it restores the balance of the universe from their point of view. But secondly, Trump's one of the sources of legitimacy is he's defending normieism against the rioters with pitchforks and torches at the door. So he needs rioters and pitchforks and torches at the door, and he'll make it up with caravans of immigrants if he has to. But boy, is it better if it's in the streets of your cities, particularly in a really white city like Minnesota, like Minneapolis, which of course isn't a really white city, but never mind, it's thought of as made up entirely of people as blonde as Holly, and so I think this is the goal. I've thought it, the goal is to have violent confrontations between ICE and rioters, and to use that to elevate it to a different level of enforcement power, which is to say the military. I just think that is the objective.
Well, those are both plausible cases. I just point out that they come pretty darn close to the analysis of Iago as motiveless malignants. The administration's looking down the barrels of a midterm election, which it's likely to lose if it doesn't get its approval ratings up. Nothing it's doing now will help them with that. Most of what it's doing now will hurt them with that. And so unless there really is nothing more to this, then we want to see the world burn because it somehow reinforces our twisted worldview. I mean, they're not even as smart as, God forbid, the Nazis in the 1930s, who at least you could detect a pattern to what they were doing. I must be missing something.
Well, I don't think I ever accused them of being smart. That was not part of my. I think they love violence, and I think they feel justified and supported and by violence. I don't think they're smart.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I said in the chat, to me, the pattern is, and this is, by the way, also true of Russians operating around the world, in a lot of different theaters, is, they throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall, and, they do things that are not, like certainly the Russian sort of active measures, their information warfare. A lot of the things that they do are actually pretty easy, cheap, easy to do. And they just like throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and then see what sticks. And a lot of it doesn't stick. I mean, they don't achieve their ends in a lot of places. And then the Trump thing, just boy, did that stick. That was a huge win for Russia. Obviously, it wasn't only due to Russia. We have our own internal psychoses and problems that fed that movement. But from a Russian standpoint, they did do active measures to get him elected, and that paid off spectacularly. And I think Trump, Trump has an instinct, but also he just does a bunch of crazy shit, and pardon Jonathan, crazy crap. And and then some of it pays off. I mean, at a certain point, you have to give the man some credit. Like, who comes back after attempting a coup in the world's greatest democracy and gets reelected, like democratically? Like, what the hell? My brain honestly.
The answer is Hugo Chavez.
Well,
who did the same thing.
Yeah. But Hugo Chavez is like, I don't want to give him credit, but the whole he did some genuinely sort of populist things, like there was
like
actually
bankrupting the Venezuelan economy.
Yeah. But at the beginning, like some of the goodies that he threw out to the poor and things, he did do some of that, and he delivered a little bit, enough to actually make it not plausible, but somewhat plausible. Trump is like doing nothing. My head explode. I literally cannot process that the American people first of all, like 2016, okay, there's a lot of, but like 2024, like I cannot process that the American people reelected this person after everything. Well, I mean, and why is his approval rating anything above like 5? I literally can't process it. I know there's rational explanations.
I want to give Carol a chance before we have to wrap up.
I noted, but also somebody else in the chat noted that he's been talking about not having midterm elections. And my question is, if the elections are up to the states, can he actually do that?
Well, he can't cancel them, but he can sort of mess with them on the. I mean, I'll let Ben answer, but I think he can mess with them on the back end.
So, can is a funny question. Can he legally? Absolutely not. But can involves he tries to do lots of things that he can't do legally, right? So I don't think, the thing about elections is that they are administered by state and local governments. And so it is actually extremely difficult as a federal matter to cancel. I don't know how you would get that done.
That's what I was thinking. But he certainly could, like, send ICE to polling places in blue states or blue cities.
Correct. There are two things he can definitely do, absent court orders to prevent them. One is a certain amount of voter intimidation, voter dissuasion. Look, I don't know whether this stuff in Minneapolis will make people more or less likely to turn out and vote, right? It may make them angrier and therefore more likely to turn out and vote. It may piss off certain number of Trump voters and make them want to vote against their local Republican congressman. But it also may cause, if you're Somali American and you're afraid to go outside because you don't know whether you're going to be arrested or shot, it may create a disincentive to, poke your head out, right? So how these things play out, in particularly when you're talking 9 months from now, is that's a complicated multivariate equation that anybody who tells you they know the answer to is somebody you shouldn't listen to. The second thing that you can do is muck with the you can't muck with the vote counts, because the votes are counted, particularly in the states that this is going to turn on, by elected and professional forces that you don't control. But there are ways you can game. Does the Senate admit the? Does the House? Now there's a limit to what you can do here, because it is a national election, but there's a certain amount of gamesmanship you can attempt. But there will be midterm elections, and there will be midterm elections run by states that are, whose elected officials are from the other party or are honest brokers within the president's party, like Georgia, for example. And I have every confidence that if people are motivated and angry, and good people run for office, and good people are running for office all over the country, there is opportunity to make change in both the House and in the Senate, more obviously in the House than in the Senate. And I think, you have to act like democratic options are real, and not talk yourself into their obsolescence. Show me that they are inoperable. Don't hypothesize that they're inoperable. Show me that they're inoperable, and then we'll work on that. But I think we have to start with the assumption that we have 9 months to organize, to support candidates, to make investments in American democratic reality, and let's do that, and then we will. I guess it's 10 months, and I don't doubt he will try to play games, but we need to, not let him. Jonathan, you get the last word today.
I wanted to make sure that Ben and friends at Lawfare are aware that the Associated Press has a very good roundup of what we know about firings and departures at DOJ, and just how deep that goes today. And
I was unaware of that, and thank you for making me aware of it. For everybody who may be interested, Lawfare is about to bring on our next DOJ Public Service Fellow. We have not dotted all the I's and crossed the T's on this, but this is somebody out of Lindsay Halligan's shop, who will be joining Lawfare and doing some, I think, very important work on the restoration of the Justice Department. And so we continue to try to address and help people who are targeted by malicious actors. One of whom, by the way, is Ari Tabatabai, who was on the show yesterday talking about Iran. Ari is no longer in government because of Laura Loomer, and is a, as you all can tell, is a very serious Iran policy person, but is also more generally a defense policy person. She does a lot of work on China. She was Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for force readiness and troop training and stuff. This is a very serious person. So we are trying one at a time to, help people with important things to say who are forced out of government under difficult circumstances. And the circumstances of those people are very diverse. And there's a lot I can't say about some of their situations because, there are, but, James Pierce, our first public service fellow last year, was one of the Jack Smith prosecutors who was fired on day one of the administration. And so the point that Jonathan is making about the depth of the destruction at the Justice Department is very true, and for all of you who are associated with organizations that are in a position to hire such people, whether we're talking law firms or universities, there's a huge amount of need on the employment side. And so, go talk to your deans, talk to your managing partners, and, tell them to, have a few more cojones than they have about these things. Folks, we're going to leave it there. We're going to be back on Monday. We're going to be talking Martin Luther King's speeches, sermons, rhetoric. We're going to play excerpts. It's going to be fabulous. We're going to be back on Tuesday with a very special guest, Micah, about whom I know absolutely nothing. And in the meantime, we're going to be doing parody videos. There will be a staircase update. It's going to be, you're going to be overwhelmed. Verklempt, one might say. Keep the money coming. We're going to buy more batteries, and we will see you on Monday.